and welcome to this little test. What I'm going to be testing today, well, not really testing, just to see what happens today, is what the difference is if we have two identical car barns. We will eventually put 10 cars into each of these. This one here we'll fill with TMR, one trailer load full of TMR. I think it's going to be about 18,000 litres, but it'll be exactly the same trailer. And this one we're going to fill with hay. Now, both of these will have meadows available to the cows, so just normal basic game cow barn. As I said, we'll put 10 cows in, and then what we'll do is we'll run it until all the feed is finished. And we will then have a look and see where we are in terms of milk production with each of the feeding methods. We'll also note how much it costs to put the feed in, and then we're going to look at and see what the cost per litre of milk is. So my guess is that the TMR will produce more milk, but it's going to cost more to fill it up as opposed to filling it up with hay. Of course, we're going to buy in both of the inputs, so we're going to buy TMR and we're going to buy hay. I think it would be even more pronounced if we were producing our own hay and TMR because of the extra equipment that you would need in terms of so basically you would need, for both of them you would need mowers, you would need you wouldn't need a tedder for the TMR, but you would need either a silage pit or a baler to bale up the silage or to produce the silage to make the hay. You would also need straw to make the TMR, which you don't need to make the hay. So let's have a look and see. So we'll start filling with TMR first. So those are added factors that we're not actually taking into account here. We're just purely filling it up and seeing what it's going to cost. So this one will be manure stones. Where is it? Total mixed ration. There we go. And that is going to cost us 6,193. $6,193 in this case. Right, so we've got that noted. Let's go and put that into the bottom cow barn, and we'll get that filled up. I'm just using the basic start game cow barn, so we don't need it to put any water in or anything like that. Right. Oh dear, we shouldn't have done that. Sorry, my mistake. I should have changed that to side overloading. Left, there we go. Otherwise we're just going to have some interesting effects when we when the trailer hits the roof. Right, so that's what one load of that. Now we'll go and get some hay and we will put it into the top barn. Top cow barn. So let's see how much this costs to fill up with hay. Where is the hay now? There we go. That's going to cost us 2,797. Let's note that down. 2,797. Right, let's go and have a look and see. Yep, this shouldn't take long to fill up. Go park up and then we'll come back and just make sure that everything is equal. And we'll just jump out and let's go and have a look and just make sure that everything is the way it should be. Cow barn. So we have 2,631 total capacity, 18,500 hay, and of course the meadow grass. And then if we go to the other one, we have total mixed rations, 18,500 litres. Everything is exactly the same. Is the meadow the same? 2146, 2131. So the meadow slightly different, maybe just the but not so much that it would make much difference really. And it's actually in advance to this very slight advantage. 31, it's about 11 litres, so we're going to regard that as negligible at this point in time. Also because we don't really have any control over that. Could be that this is just coming slightly onto the tarmac area. Yeah, that's probably it. In any case, we'll regard that as pretty much equal, and in terms of the input of the meadow, it didn't cost us anything and shouldn't make that much difference in the whole scheme of things. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put in, and I'm going to give because I think the hay will be lacking behind, I'm going to give the hay a slight head start. So we'll buy fully fledged brown Swiss. We'll just use the same. Actually, let's use Holstein. They'll be easier to see. And we will then, what did we say? We'd buy 10 of them, yeah? So we buy 10 of those. We'll just nip across here. And we'll buy another 10 of those for here. Right, so we now have 10 cows in there. And 10 cows in here. So let's just go and have a look and see how we're looking. So total mixed ration, we've got 10 cows, so both at 0% and at 0%, all going well. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed this up at 360. Right, so we're going at 360. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to do that on a time lapse, and we will see what happens at, well, let's see when the day breaks again. So we'll see you once we hit the first day break, and we'll have a look and see where we are. Right, you're back with me, and we are roughly 1 day in. It's probably just a little bit less than 1 day, but let's have a look and see. So the cows are looking okay there, looking well rested. So let's go in and have a look and see where we are after 1 day. Right, so after 1 day, the first barn with the cows in, with 10 cows in, and been fed on hay. They're not quite full health yet. They have produced 543 liters of milk. We're not going to worry too much about the slurry, but that would be a byproduct. And yeah, so obviously, because they're not 100% health, have not started reproduction yet either. So yeah, so we are getting some milk from that, and we just need to start now comparing to the 10 cows that are being fed on mixed ration. So the first thing we notice is that their health is already 100% as opposed to 69-70%. So 30% faster in terms of getting to full production, although both are showing as 100% productive in terms of producing of milk. But the hay is 545 liters, and the cow barn with TMR is 969, so producing substantially more milk. Also producing substantially more slurry, by the way. Well, not substantially more, but more. So on the face of it, it does look like TMR is going to give us quite a big benefit in terms of we're already 10% up on reproduction. In other words, 10%. The TMR cows are 10% more productive start producing calves earlier. So that's probably going to give us a month or a day, play days difference. Right, I'm going to now put this on to speed it up until we have utilized all the feed. Have they used the same amount of feed? Let's have a look. The cow barn with hay in, they've used 5,050. They've still got 15,145 and 15,000. So they're using exactly the same amount of food. Right, okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to speed that up until we are finished, till the food is finished, and then we'll come back to you and we'll have a final look and then work out what the cost per litre is, just in terms of feed. Right, so there we go. So let's have a look at the animals, the 10 cows that were fed on hay, and we can see that we got 5,222 litres of milk. So it's 5,222 litres. Right, we were also at 40% reproduction, so that's worth noting. And slurry 10,577. So let's go and have a look now at the TMR. So the animals that were fed on TMR have got 6,814 litres of milk. 814 litres of milk. They have produced more slurry, but just under 3,000 litres more slurry, so you will be able to make a little bit of money on that, but not much. And of course it would go a little bit further if you were using it for fertilization. The big difference is that we had 50% reproduction, and as opposed to 40%. So that's basically a month's gameplay, or a month's gameplay, or a day's gameplay, depending on how you're playing it. But yeah, so you will get your calves quicker by a day's gameplay or a month's gameplay, depending on how you're playing, but you'll get your calves quicker. We do it on TMR, and of course when you fed on TMR, you reached full health, and that's why you're getting the calves that 1 month earlier. Right, but our measurement method for this was going to be the cost per litre of milk. So I'll do the calculations and I'll come back to you once it's done. Right, so you're back with me. And the results are as follows. For the cows fed on hay, we produced 522 litres of milk. The cost was $2,797 for the full load of food, and that gives us a cost per litre of 54 cents. So 54 cents per litre of milk. The cows fed on TMR produced 6,814 litres of milk. The cost of the TMR was $6,193, and that works out at a cost per litre of milk of 91 cents. So pretty much you should just be feeding hay in terms of cost per litre. There are some further advantages of feeding TMR. So you will get your calves quicker by about a month or a play day, however you're playing, but it'll be at least 10% quicker than you would get on feeding with hay. Of course, there are also some advantages of feeding on hay in terms of production. So if you were making everything yourself, it would be cheaper to make. It would be quicker to make because you wouldn't have to wait for silage to ferment. So I can't see any reason why you should be feeding TMR. For me, certainly when you're starting, it's nice and fun to make TMR and to make silage, etc. But yeah, feed hay. Certainly when you're starting off, feed hay. Well, that's my opinion. I'll leave you to decide how you're going to do it. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this episode and found it in any way informative, please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Cheerio.